open up for questions.
Obviously, the offense is taking a lot of criticism this year. Do you hear that stuff? Does it get to you? Is it getting through to you, from fans, or just what's being said out there?
Well, I don't know. What you do every day is you get up and you try and put the best plan you can together, give these kids the best chance they can to put points on the board, and that's what we're focused on. Focus on the process. You go in every day, look at what we can do, how can we do it the best we can do it, and give ourselves the best chance for success.
What do you see on, like, when a play maybe, just some plays maybe haven't worked? We're talking to players, or like it's one guy, it's like these plays should work, we're not making them work.
Well, I think it goes across the board. It's consistency in our performance, and I think at times we've done some really, really good things. At other times, we haven't had the consistency we need. So obviously we're still gelling together as a group, and we'll continue to push forward. Like I say, every day, just work on getting better at something.
What's the biggest thing that people don't understand about your job, about what leads to the outcome of games and plays?
Well, I think it's easy to focus on outcome. You got to start with process, and it first starts with culture, and you start with your culture and how you're developing as a team, and you've got young players in there, and we're trying to teach them to grow together, and the communication side of things, we're always talking about, hey, it doesn't matter if we're right and wrong as long as we're on the same page, and at times when you don't do things right, it's usually because you're not communicating.
Yeah, Mac yesterday talked about building things the right way. He said obviously the numbers aren't what we want them to be, but we're building things the right way, and he feels like that's really going to pay off next season. What does that exactly mean, building things the right way?
Well, it's like I say, you can be result-oriented or process-oriented. Obviously, we all want results. You want great numbers. You want to score a ton of points. Everybody wants that, but how do you get there? And that's the focus. Like I said, it's a day-to-day thing. You focus on what do you do today to get better.
How difficult is it? Like, so David Sharp, for example, is the only guy who started every game on offense for you guys this year. How hard does it make it?
Well, the thing is, you can look at, only one guy started every game, or you can look at it this way, hey, we're playing a lot of young players, and when you look at our roster, we've got everybody coming back, and that's an exciting thing, and I think that our guys, the more they play together, the better they're going to be, and especially you start right inside, you switch centers at the middle of the year, and unfortunately Cam gets hurt, now TJ stepped in, quarterback, so you start right from the center, the middle of your infield, as they say in baseball, it all starts right there.
What about the quarterbacks? I mean, having 4 different ones, obviously the thing with Will Greer's well documented, then Luke gets hurt, so you've kind of lost your starter both years. I mean, how much does that kind of stress the situation?
That's the game, and these guys stepped up and done a nice job. Everybody's had their numbers called, stepped up. We talk about that all the time too. When you get your number called, you step in, you do your job.
How frustrated have you gotten at times, though, knowing what you want to see out there and not always seeing it?
I don't know if frustration is the word. Obviously, you want results, and you say, I know it's there because we've done it in stretches, and you see it in stretches. It's the consistency, and we're struggling to find that consistency, on a day-in, day-out basis. Now, we're getting better and better, and you say, hey, eventually, if the process is right, you're going to break through, and you're going to find that consistency, and those things will come. The numbers and the other things, those will come.
Everyone wants to point to the quarterback or the coordinator. Does it hurt you at all, though, when you're getting all that share of the blame, and maybe that's not fair? Or?
Welcome to the big leagues, as they say. That's part of the day. Hey, you wake up in this league every day, you better bring your best, because there's great coaches, there's great players, and you ain't going to have a week off in this league. Any teams we play, they're good football teams. So this team we're going to play this week, exceptional football, 24th in the nation in defense, 10th in scoring. They're an exceptional defensive team, so you better come to work every day knowing you better bring your best.
What about just you as a competitor? Obviously you were a top player in college. John L.
I don't know if you use top very, very loosely.
Well, John L. Smith told me the story about you beating up the mascot in Northern Arizona.
He can stretch the truth with the best of them.
But no, obviously you were a real competitor. And you bring it to your coaching. So does that bother you sometimes?
Hey, like I said, this is as competitive as it gets, and of course it bothers you. You want to have success. You want to do great. You don't go into something and say, I don't want to do well. You look at it and you go, hey, I know that we're capable of a lot, but we've got to do it consistently, day in, day out, week in, week out.
What do you think this team does well offensively? What do you kind of hang your hat on?
Well, I think if you look at it, we've got some explosive playmakers on the perimeter. We've done a good job. We've struggled to find the consistency in the running game we need to be, to be a successful running team, a team that can dictate the box through the run. So we've got to find that week in and week out approach where we can be a physical and explosive team at the same time.
Is it just a blown assignment? What's in-depth, detail to why sometimes things
the why is always the question. And you can say, well, is it one thing that consists consistently shows up. That's as a coach, you always look at that. Okay, what is the reason? What's the issue here? How do we address it? Well, you look. Well, maybe it's this guy on that play. Maybe it's this play call versus that defense. You know, we're all involved in this thing. So you look at it all. You evaluate it. You try and hammer on one thing at a time to make yourself progress forward.
What gives you confidence that next year could be the kind of breakout year for the offense?
Well, confidence every time. Confidence every day we go out here. We're going to be better. We're going to be better. We're going to get better. We've got all our players back, like I talked about. You know, it's a positive thing. So we played a lot of guys, played a lot of young players. You know, and we've done some things really, really well in stretches this season. It's just like I said, you've got to find that consistency. Be an elite team on offense. You've got to do it day in and day out, week in and week out.
When you were talking about just all the factors that go into it, how much time is this requiring from you compared with past seasons? Like Austin the other day was saying he's leaving the facility 11, 12 o'clock sometimes, and he says you're still there every day.
Well, I mean,
and he says you work there till like 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning some nights.
Well, like I said, the whole objective is to give the players the best chance to be successful. That's what we do every week, and that's all we're focused on. You know, getting them the best plays, getting them put in the best situations, trying to get our playmakers in the right positions so that we can have success.
Are you putting in more hours than maybe you do some seasons, or is it always this time?
You know, I don't ever work, really calculate work on hours. It's about doing the job the right way and doing it the best way you possibly can.
How do you evaluate the freshman quarterbacks and their development this season?
I think they've done a tremendous job. Really, really excited about where those guys are at, where they've come in a short period of time. You know, and talking about Kyle, every day he goes out, every snap is a new adventure. So it's because he doesn't have the library of snaps that some of the other guys that have played a lot of snaps in high school. And Felipe, you talk about a guy ultra talented that came in and we threw a lot at him early, and he's really, really learned how to prepare and how to take the offense and take the tools we're giving him and apply them to the field.
How ready is he?
Receivers?
I think they've done a really, really good job. You know, and you see week in and week out, we get a little contribution from one here or there. And like I said, I feel like we've got some pretty good playmakers on the perimeter. Those guys, Tyree obviously missing camp really hurt him, and you're starting to see in flashes what he's capable of. You know, and would have been nice to have him all camp, but hey, that's the way it goes.
How ready is Felipe to compete for that job next fall, next game?
Well, I think he's ready.
And where do you see Luke in that mix next year?
Luke played some dang good football games.
Is he the incumbent coming in, or is it open competition? Or
we'll evaluate that. Right now, we're focused on Iowa. Right now, Austin's going to start, and Luke's going to be ready to play, and we're going to play Iowa.
What's the biggest challenge of the Iowa defense?
They're physical. Well, they're physical, and they're not. They don't do a lot of different things, but they play their scheme exceptionally well. They're very, very sound in what they do. They know where to be. Obviously, they've got a couple great players, and you look at their numbers; they're a darn good defense.
Looking at Luke.
Yes,
I don't know. They're different. I don't know. There's necessarily one team I would compare them to because their style's a little bit different than a lot of the teams we play. But maybe a little bit. That's hard to say. I don't really see that as a comparison. True SEC team.
You know, Luke walks off with his still has wearing that knee brace. I mean, obviously that injury was pretty serious. How much do you think that just kind of set him back? Because once he came back, I mean, the arms didn't really seem to be there.
Yeah, well, obviously injuries, a part of the game, and unfortunately Luke got hurt at 2 injuries, so the whole deal just trying to get him healthy, and we're not going to talk about him. We don't talk about him. I'll let Coach talk about those things publicly, but obviously he was banged up, and he needed time to heal.
Mm-hmm. The quarterback situation, I mean, last spring, Coach was saying how excited he was about the quarterback room, had real high hopes for the quarterback situation. It maybe didn't go quite going forward. I mean, you touched on it a little bit, but what do you think the room's going to look like going forward?
Well, it's interesting. I think other than Luke coming in, sitting out a year, his first year I've been in a situation where we basically turned the whole room over. Haven't had that situation before, so it's unique in that standpoint, but really like the growth that we've got from the position where we're moving into the future.
Last 2 guys.
I mean, specifically, what do you like about Kyle?
Kyle is a guy that when you tell him at one time, he gets it right now. He can process information very, very well. His accuracy is unbelievable, and he's just done a really, really good job for a guy that doesn't have a ton of snaps. When you put him in situations, he reacts very, very well.
How's Antonio Callaway developed from year 1 to year 2? What have you seen from him?
I think he's had really, really good development. He's been put in some situations this year where teams have really tried to eliminate him from our game plan, and he's done a good job of not getting frustrated, continue to focus on how do I get open versus double coverage and those type of things, and really excited about his future. Obviously not being with us a lot in the whole off season, that set him back a little bit from where we'd like him to have been, but he's had a good football season, and he's going to get better and better. Guy's a phenomenal football player.
Thanks, guys.